Chris Paul and for Devin Booker, it was terrific leadership and guard play. The Phoenix Suns. Wallace, where's my broom? See, I'm on the road. I was more worried about my pick. I was more worried about my frames. Where's my broom? In all honesty, great season for the Nuggets. You're not getting far without Jamal Murray in the Western Conference playoffs.
They definitely needed Murray. About that Jokic play, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And you could tell he was frustrated from not getting some calls. You could tell he was angry. It wasn't really a basketball play, as you mentioned. And by the laws, if you hit someone in the face, they always come down on you. And with Jokic or without Jokic, they were not winning that game. They were not winning this series. They really did miss Jamal Murray and the Monte Morrises and the Rivers and all those contributions they got in their previous series against the Blazers. They just did not get against the Phoenix Suns. Now, you mentioned Chris Paul, and he deserves to be celebrated, but we also need to celebrate Devin Booker. Book had himself a great series. It just seems like he's really flourishing off the ball. And you have him as one of your top 5 under 25. What made you do this list, and where do you have Booker on it?
Here's the beauty of Booker on being on any list. This is his 8th season, dog. He's on an under 25 list, is already have a 70-point game, is in the conference finals as a sweep, and he's still under 25 years of age. Luka Doncic, he just solidified himself to me as just all worldly. Jason Tatum just elevated himself as being one of the best clutch performers in the league, has been with the Celtics, hit 3 conference finals, and Donovan Mitchell has just been fantastic for the Utah Jazz. Last year's playoffs, this year's playoffs. Devin Booker's right there. That last spot, Jacoby, that last spot, I like to play king of the court, and Trae Young has it for right now, but Ja Morant is standing right behind him. You see that Hawk emblem right behind him? That's Ja Morant. I gave the spot to Trae Young just because his team got to the second round and Ja Morant's didn't. Even though I was a guy that was picking them to actually win in the play-in and make the NBA playoffs.
Well, Jalen, that series was a sweep. It looked like the Nets were headed toward a sweep when they were up 2-0, but the Bucks have come back. They evened the series using some defense from PJ Tucker and some good play from Giannis. Jalen, how have the Bucks evened up this series?
I gotta go try it in one of my.
This time of the year, the catalysts are your superstars, and Giannis continued to attack the paint without settling. It's easier to do it when your team is getting stops and or rebounds, so he get plays like this in transition, broken floor situations where they don't get a chance to truly form a wall, and that's why he had a career high in the paint with points. So it starts with Giannis. But the second thing I want to say, I want to go to PJ Tucker.
Yep.
See, in the first game, he had 0 points, but his plus minus was 11, plus 11. He played fantastic. Drew Holiday only had 9 points in the previous game. He actually was fantastic. And you know how they were fantastic? Defensively. I have never seen anybody guard Kevin Durant this well. I know they weren't necessarily, they were planning for Harden to be out, weren't planning for Kyrie to be out, so their offense got a little stagnant and tried to force it to KD. But he was picking them up 94 feet sometime. He was forcing them to the left side sometime. He was getting underneath them. I saw him contesting shots. I saw him block. When the last time you seen somebody block one of Kevin Durant's shots?
A jump
I know
shot.
they called the foul, but it wasn't a foul. It wasn't a foul. You can do that when you're familiar with a guy you.
My name's Andy Vences, and I'm a professional boxer.
The job is awesome. I love my boss. I think he'll promote me soon.
It's finals for the first time in more than a decade.
Yeah, Kristen, and for me, knowing Monty for so long, growing up in the DMV area, knowing that he's been a head coach before and he's learned from his mistakes, and now he reading the culture. Devin Booker being accountable on both ends of the floor, and now you bring in a floor leader like Chris Paul has shown us now, late in his career, what he did in OKC and what he's doing now. It's just phenomenal.
How surprised are you by this success? Because those who watched perhaps the Bubbles resumed season after it was suspended, that's where the groundwork was laid.
I'm not surprised. What I'm surprised is that he's staying healthy. We know Chris Paul can play basketball. We know he's a great leader. But every time he's gotten close to this moment, something weird has happened. And we don't want to be superstitious, we want to be in reality, but late in the game, we was like, okay, get Chris Paul out of the game, either doing well, win this game. But Chris Paul stayed in. He wanted to make sure he got this victory. Now he has at least a week off. So once again, look, come on, Kristen, look at these numbers. Come on.
Well, and look at the names he's sitting alongside. One of my favorite notes after this game as well is that he's just the third player in NBA history, at least 36 years old, to record a 35-point game in the playoffs. The other two, Kareem and Karl Malone.
I think they're Hall of Fame.
Those are, yes.
Right, like big-time Hall of Fame.
I've heard of those as well, yes.
Like first ballot Hall of Famer type guys, right?
Also very good at basketball.
Thank you.
Guys.
So that's why I say it again for all the naysayers. And I admit I was a little nervous at first, too, because at 36, are you continuing to take care of your body the right way? When we saw him, aggravate his shoulder, was he going to get through the Lakers? So everything Chris Paul has shown you at his age, he's doing the right thing to make sure his body's available for his team.
Since losing those games in the first round, by the way, games 2 and 3, they've won 7 straight playoff games. How much confidence do you think stemmed from getting the reigning champions behind them so early?
Well, I think understanding what LeBron and AD could do to you, we understand they were banged up. But guess what? The whole league is banged up. So the fact that you've been able to figure out and navigate to get your body right, and everybody on this team has bought into what Monty's selling and what you're trying to lead. So there it is. Look at that right there. Come on, man.
First
4 wins away.
Come
on.
His career. 4 more wins.
And someone with his stature has been around so long, and since the first time he swept someone, that's another reason why I think he was in the game at the end to make sure I can get this victory so we can get some good quality rest.
Let's talk a little bit more about Devin Booker, because for quite a while he was expected to be a superstar and produce like a superstar. And now he has the ability to play well within the system that's been created there.
Yeah, Chris, a great point. And also, too, that he's not buying into, well, I got to go to the playoffs one year. I got to learn something. I got to lose. I got to he's like, for what? Why do I have to go through that?
Right.
So I really appreciate how he's taking his business serious, how he and LeBron exchanged jerseys, and LeBron supported, hey, man, you're ready. Go to the next level. And he's doing that. He's not taking this game off. They could have easily took that punch in the face by Denver Nuggets. No, well, let's go back home, win this. No, let's get it over with now. And Devin Booker showed it tonight.
How do you sum up now the Nuggets' season and postseason run?
They had a great run. Obviously, Joker was deserving of the MVP, but when Jamal Murray went down, I think we all would agree. What Jamal Murray showed us in the bubble, the 40s and the 50s, and how his game has expanded the last couple of years, we knew him not being healthy, he wouldn't be able to help the Joker get over the hump. Barton coming in banged up. Now, big picture, I think they're going to be fine. Tweak a few things, get healthy. What are you going to do with Millsap, the veteran? Do you bring in a different veteran? Do you keep him because he's been solid for them? You got look at Kristen. Look at all the teams left in the playoff. They all have good, solid veterans on their team.
Right. I was going to ask, what are those tweaks? You say tweak a couple of things apart from getting healthy. How close is this team to competing for a championship?
The Will Bartons of the world, the Paul Millsaps, are you keeping them or are you replacing them with a better upgrade of veterans? Or are you saying, we were just banged up this year, Jamal got hurt, and we brought in Aaron Gordon after trade deadline, who played well for him, but we didn't have our full complement of players because of injuries.
What was your initial reaction? One of the things I loved is that Reggie on the call initially first says, that was all ball.
Right, see, Reggie, that's us. Come on, that's 90s basketball.
It wasn't, and I love you. But hey,
yes. No, I get it. And people at home, I get it. The wind-up. But we've seen many nice guys wind up and get all ball, and you go and get the steal. It's basketball, and we know the Joker wasn't trying to hurt him. Is he frustrated? Yes, he's down 0-3.
Of course.
But did he handle it professionally? He got up, young fella, I wasn't trying to hurt you. You're okay. I'm going to go take my hot shower and I'll get ready for next year.
I do hate, though, that this is the way that we saw him walk out of such
great
a
point.
stunning season. So how would you put the exclamation point on what has been his MVP season?
That he's been consistent all season long. He's been available all season long through injuries, through the protocol that the whole league has gone through, and his numbers stayed solid. When Jamal Murray went down, most people thought they would slip and fall down to 7 or 8. They did not. They stayed right where they were, hit pack, and got into the playoffs just to have enough talent to win ball games. So, deserving of the MVP, this incident is not, obviously what he wanted, but I don't think it puts any, Danish or dark light over his season.
As the Nuggets move forward, and you talk about Jamal Murray getting healthy, of course, Will Barton returning to form as well. Do you think that they need perhaps a more consistent superstar second option, or do you like the very balanced offensive approach that they've taken?
Well, I think we can say Michael Porter Jr. should be that second option / third option when Jamal gets healthy. The question is, who's your backup? Monte Morris played great. They brought in Capazzo. I got his name.
Capazzo,
right? Yes.
Yeah.
So he played.
Kind of nailed it.
Kind of nailed it, right? They brought in guys like that, and I love his energy. But at the end of the game, other teams aren't fearing him. Austin Rivers, love him to death. He played great basketball, making some tough shots down the stretch to finish up the season to the playoffs. But teams aren't fearing him. So to your point, what we're learning with say the Clippers are going through, you can bring in a Kennard, you can bring in somebody, you can bring in a Terrence Mann that really gives you some young energy and making shots. I think to answer your question, can you bring in another player that can make some shots for you when Jamal has it off, when Jamal getting double teamed, or the Joker's getting double teamed, he's willing to share the ball.
Let's talk a little bit more about the Phoenix Suns now. Advancing to the conference finals for the first time in more than a decade. We talked a little bit. Long been expected to be a superstar, but the question surrounding his status being cemented in the league was whether or not he could do it on the biggest stage that was the playoffs. What does this series say about where he stands in the league at this point?
Knock, knock, knock. Hey, superstar. Knock, knock, knock. He's knocking on his superstar. Doing very similar that, because Utah's way out there, people are, I didn't realize Donovan Mitchell that good. Well, you must not have been up late at night watching the league.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Come on.
You have to stay up late sometimes to see these guys.
That's what Devin Booker has shown us in the playoffs. Even keel. When I have a great night, I'm not getting overexcited. A bad night, I regroup. I go watch some tape. I listen to my coach, listen to his leadership. Everything he's supposed to prove now on this big stage.
And to score at least 20 in 5 of his 9 career playoff games. Again, he didn't shy away from the moment. But what specifically in this series and in this closeout game 4, what made him so effective?
Being consistent. And I think we go back to what we talked about with Monty, changing the culture. We've known Devin to get buckets. We know he can score with the best of them. We know he can shoot threes. But now it's this total, complete game. He's defending on the defensive end of the floor. He's guarding multiple people. And when he gets double teamed, he's not forcing the shots. He's making the right reads and right cues for passes.
It's also been a lot of fun watching the emergence of DeAndre Ayton as this young talent, because so many didn't know what to make of him after he was drafted first, and then perhaps didn't produce as a not just first round draft pick, but a first overall draft pick is quote unquote supposed to produce. But he's been a fun personality that we've watched emerge, and he's been really a unique talent and took this defensive assignment against the MVP as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you broke it down that way about the personality. That first year, does he want to have too much fun? Is he really working on his game? And I think Monty has put his same imprint on him, the same thing with Devin, that you have to take your game serious. You have to work on your body, work on the small things in that pick and roll. So the way he and Chris Paul have really been a perfect marriage, so to speak, with that 1-5 pick and roll has been fun to watch.
That does, though, say a lot about Monty Williams and the way in which he leads each individual person, not just player, and the way in which he calls these guys into more based on their personality.
No, I think Reggie and Kevin talked about that. The first time around, he was headstrong, wanted to be my way, on my way. But this time, he's listening to the players. He's letting them say, Coach, we can do this, we can do that. And Monty just saying, just play hard and play the right way, and I'll let you do you.
Let's look ahead. Their matchup yet, but against the Utah Jazz, against the LA Clippers, who do you think, let's start with the more favorable matchup first for the Suns.
Favorable?
Or, you could go with the tougher matchup. I don't make the rules around here.
No, it's a tough call. I mean, I think in Monty's case, I just want to play.
Right.
Obviously, you might say, hey, help the Clippers win. Now I get home court. You know, you play that game. But I would want the Jazz to win because I want to see Rudy Gobert and Ayton go at each other.
Right.
I want to see two old school bigs play the pick and roll the right way, move
Donovan
their feet.
and Devin
Donovan
and a couple of young
two young
stars.
stars.
Yeah, that's
you
fun.
got the old vet.
This is my window.
They got old vet Mike Conley over there. I mean, obviously, Mike Conley's not the same age as Chris Paul, but it's two
Is he not?
point
How old
guards.
is Mike now?
I think Chris Paul might have him about a couple of years ago. I think Chris Paul's 30, Mike Conley's 30.
You are right, 33,
Hey,
yes.
baby, we do it. So my point is that'd be fun. Two old school
Yeah,
point
it
guards
would
that
be.
love the pick and roll.
And that for so long, I feel, have been underappreciated in what it is that they're bringing to a lineup as well.
Two big guys, 2 point guards, two coaches who play with Quinn and Monty, so it just would be fun for the Western Conference to see that unfold. A lot of shot making on the floor.
Yes. Okay, then the Clippers.
Clippers, knowing Ty Lue, he'd probably go small ball.
Right.
And really
yes.
mix some things up. And now, Devin, you're dealing with Kawhi, you're dealing with Paul George, so it's a different complexion. They switch everything.
Yeah.
Where Utah's defense is solid, they play hard-nosed, where the Clippers, they try to switch and find the best mismatch.
Right now,
How would the
the
Suns match up with those couple of guys?
Because I
Because they
don't
haven't
know.
quite faced a duo
I don't
like
think my son is,
Kawhi and PG.
It was
In
Bridges.
the-
right now. So if he was using it,
I know LeBron and Anthony Davis are two of the best
But
players
they're
to have
hurt
ever
right
played
now.
the game.
They're hurt.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But Bridges and Devin would really have to lock in on the defensive end because if the Clippers were to get out of that, that means Paul George and Kawhi are playing
Right.
like we've seen
Right.
recently, and that's where you really got to lock in on that.
Tremendous effort, tremendous fight, which was
two things.
great to see. We hung around.
And
Overall,
soccer.
very disappointing
And then
to end the
I got
series,
factor in the
getting
fact
swept
that
at home. But as I told our
probably
players,
not
Mike,
gaming right
this loss should sting. No one likes to
Try to
lose.
check that out
But
later.
when you find some time to reflect on the season, remember all the great things that we did this year. And I don't think people fully understand us even winning that first round series, how remarkable that was. So I'm not going to allow this series to define the season. And obviously, hopefully next year we can find a way to stay healthy and be better and see where we can go.
Katie Wingy, Altitude Sports.
Hey, Coach. Congrats on a great season, first and foremost, I guess. But what was communicated, if anything, when Jokic did get ejected? Did you say anything to the guys? And how proud are you of the way that almost lit a fire and had to keep fighting till the end?
Yeah, I'll be honest, Kate, and thank you for your kind words. I'm not really sure what Nikola said to his teammates, to be very honest. But I will say to your latter point, I thought it was tremendous.
Well, I changed
for the
3
guys
things.
that were
I
out
also
there.
made
Because no Jamal, no PJ, Nikola gets
I'm running
ejected,
Streamlabs
down
and
3-0. Really easy just to kind of let go of that rope and give in. So I couldn't be more proud of that group for fighting and giving ourselves a chance. I think with 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, it was a 4-point game. I could just never get over the hump. It certainly wasn't for a lack of effort, which you have to admire and respect from that group. So tough loss, Katie. Tough way to go out. I was thinking about this today. You know, after we got Aaron Gordon, we went into LA and played the Clippers on April 1st, and we beat them. And at that point in time, I really felt we had a chance to win it all this year. I really did. That's how well we were playing. And then unfortunately, the injury bug really hit us hard, and we weren't able to achieve that goal. But hopefully we can have a great offseason, come back, be healthier, and find a way to continue to build and rise like we've done these last 3 years.
Vinny Benedetto, Denver Gazette.
Hey, Michael. Just how much of the series felt like you guys could kind of, I guess, determine, and how much of it just came down to Phoenix playing at a really high level with a bunch of guys who seem to contribute on both ends?
How you doing? Well, yeah, I mean, we knew that going in. We knew this was going to be a completely different animal than Portland. No disrespect to Portland. You know, but we knew going in, this was a top 6 offense and top 6 defense. And, tonight I think was by far the most points we scored in the game, 118. So Chris Paul, Devin Booker, unbelievable backcourt. Some really good role playing from the other players. And I wish we could have played them at full strength. You take every team's second best player off their roster, how good are they going to be? But no excuses. Monty Williams did a great job. So obviously a lot of respect for Monty, his staff, guys like Willie Green, who I coached, Randy Ayers, Mark Bryant. They do a terrific job. And you have to give them a lot of credit. They're a very well-coached team, and they have a lot of talent. Chris Paul could arguably be the greatest point guard of all time. And you know what you have in Devin Booker, just a professional bucket getter. So they're going to be a tough out. So you have to tip your cap to them and give them the respect that they deserve.
Brandon Cristal, KOA Denver.
Coach, not to dwell on it, and I don't want to try to get you fined, but had we had you mic'd up or heard what happened as soon as you were told Nikola was ejected, what was kind of going through your mind then? And I guess if you can put it into words, kind of had you processed it.
Well, I still haven't processed it, to be honest with you. Game 4, an elimination game at home. Before they had determined their decision on the flagrant 2, I had watched a replay myself on one of the coaches' computers behind the bench. And I just assumed, and we all know you should never assume, but I assumed it would be a flagrant 1 at the worst. From my vantage point and watching the replay, I did not think it was a non-basketball play with malicious intent. I think it was a frustration foul. I feel Nikola probably felt the last couple of plays when he had the ball, he had not received a foul call. And, he went over there to take a foul, which he's done plenty of times before. A lot of players do that. And I just didn't feel like it warranted a flagrant 2 ejection because he's making a play on the ball. There's marginal contact to Cameron Payne's nose, I believe. So I was shocked. I'm still a little bit shocked that they called a flagrant 2 and ejected the MVP on such a play. I think Mike Singer said that a pool reporter may have asked one of the officials, so I'd love to hear what the reply was from one of the referees, because I'm still trying to figure out the reasoning behind the ejection.
Matt Moore, The Action Network.
Michael, you played 2 playoff runs in 10 months. You guys are the last of the Final Four teams to get knocked out. What was it that made you guys last longer than those other teams? And with still got a pretty short offseason where the schedule is looking like it's going to be, do you think with everything and how hard this season was on top of the bubble, do you expect there to be carryover effects in the next season?
That could very likely be the case, Matt. I mean, if you kind of looked at Nikola Jokic's from the bubble, 83 days in the bubble, Western Conference Finals, 2 months, short training camp, short preseason, played all 72, was incredible against Portland with his starting backcourt not available, and was incredible once again in Phoenix as we came up short. So very well there could be some carryover. I think it's a testament, the fact that Boston, Miami, Lakers didn't get out of the first round. Obviously, they dealt with similar issues, COVID, protocols, injuries. But I think we were able to rise above it because we have the MVP. Nikola Jokic put his teammates on his back in round 1 and was otherworldly in that series. And, obviously, in the second series against Phoenix, we just needed more help, more guys to step up. And it wasn't for a lack of effort. I think we'll give everybody some time off, mentally, physically, and hopefully we can start next season fresh and healthy as possible to have another run at this thing.
All right, we got time for one more. We're going to end with Mark, the Denver Post.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the hell of a fight.
Thank you.
Two questions. What, if anything, did you tell Nikola after this game? Were you able to talk to him? And the more direct one, do you think LeBron gets ejected in the same situation?
I'm not going to touch the second one. I'll let you write on that, Kiz. I haven't had a chance to speak individually to a lot of our players. One thing I told the group is that I love them all. I appreciate everything they did this year, the fight, the commitment. And it's really hard, I think, for some people to understand how hard of a year this was. I mean, and more so mentally and emotionally than physically. The physical part is really hard anytime. 72 games, condensed schedule, 3 and 4, back-to-backs, all that. But when you couple the density of the schedule, the COVID protocols, getting tested twice a day, wearing a mask, everything around it, coming out of the bubble into this, this was the hardest season by far for me in 20 years, and I think all of our players would probably say the same thing. And that's where you have a tremendous amount of pride for what we were able to achieve in light of all that. In light of this not being easy, in light of Jamal Murray, Will Barton, P.J. Dozier not being around in the first round, and getting Will back for game 3 and 4 against in this series. But Nikola knows this. I love him, support him, believe in him, and we'll go to war with him any day.
Devin Booker with 34 and 11 in this one, his 5th 30-point playoff game this postseason. Here he is.
Devin, congrats on the win. Congrats on advancing. After that run in the bubble, Monty Williams, looked at you and said, "You've been through a lot, and you have been through a lot. Suns fans have been through a lot with you. What's it like to finally get to this stage with the franchise that drafted you and the fans that have been with you since day one?"
Yeah, I mean, it's a feeling that's, kind of hard to put to words. You always reflect, after a game like this, or after you close this series out, you sit back and reflect a little bit and think about what you just talked about, what we've been through as an organization and as a team, and even the short time that Monty's been here, just, watching the culture develop and watching, players get better every day and people put their hard hats on and come in and work every day. So, it's a beautiful sight to see, to see hard work pay off.
Next up is Cameron Cox with 12 News, and then Dwayne Rankin.
What were the emotions after the game with the guys in the locker room, knowing you guys were able to advance in this series?
We were hyped, man. Chris was saying before the game, he ain't never swept somebody. He ain't never beat anybody 4-0. I don't know when the last time the Suns have been to the Western Conference Finals, but, tonight is one of the nights that, we celebrate in-house, and then, we wake up tomorrow and, we're on to either the Clippers or Utah, just paying attention to those games.
Next up is Dwayne Rankin with the Arizona Republic, and then Mark Schwartz.
Well, Devin, the last time was 2010. It was the last time the Suns made the playoffs.
No, Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, Western Conference Finals,
Okay,
the last time. Yeah, played the Lakers, played Kobe, the Lakers. Wanted to ask you, though, just about, you approaching Jokic. Was that a situation, hey, look, I didn't like what I saw right there, and I got to stand up for my guy?
Yeah, that's all I said. Just what are you doing? I mean, I think, it was just an emotional play. I don't think he meant harm by it after, but, it was just a frustration foul. But, it was tough just defending my teammate. That was it. But I seen him go up to Cam after and apologize. And, I've played against the Joker multiple times. I know, he's not a malicious player.
Next is Mark Schwartz with ESPN, and then Kellen Olson.
Book, two-part question about Chris. First of all, what has he meant to you as a player and as a person? And secondly, how did he put his stamp on this series and bring you home in a sweep?
I mean, it's hard, to just narrow it down on, how he's helped me. You can go on the court, off the court, but what most comes to my mind at first is just, how he carries himself as, a true veteran in this league and a true professional. I said it after last game, just, his approach to the game, the way he trains, the way he takes care of his body, his diet, his sleep regimen. So, you know, there's many things, there's many bits and pieces that, you know, he'll come to me and talk about a lot, but, you know, I just sit back and observe him at the same time and learn that way, you know. So I'm not the only person that will be saying this. I'm sure you can ask anybody on this team, you know, how has Chris, you know, developed your game? And, you know, everybody's going to have a lengthy answer because he cares. He cares about each and every individual, and, you know, he'll let you know when he sees something that can better you.
We're going to have Chris Paul available in the locker room. Next up is going to be Kellen Olson with Arizona Sports, followed by Nick King.
Hey, Book, saw you were able to celebrate with your family here at the game, and Chris's as well. I believe Chris gave your dad a big hug after, too. Just what was it like to have your family here for this moment?
Yeah, man, it's an unbelievable feeling. You know, I always tell people that's my why. You know, that's the reason I play the game. And to see the excitement on my sister's face, see the excitement on my mother's face and my brother, you know. So, you know, we've been through a lot as a family, and, you know, they love to watch me succeed. And, you know, anytime I can put a smile on their face, you know, there's no feeling like it for real. So, you know, that's what keeps me going.
Next is Nick King with Channel 3, Channel 5, and then Gina Mizell.
Devin, you also had a moment with Monty right before you left the court. What was that couple of seconds like for you? He had a pretty big smile on his face, which we don't often see. But like
I said, it's the time that, you know, we celebrate, man. We put a lot of work in, and I think, you know, as a group, as a unit, from top to bottom, coaching staff to trainers to the doctors, everybody, you know, this is the time to celebrate what we did. But, you know, we wake up tomorrow and we're on to the next goal.
Next is Gina Mizell with Suns.com, and then Jovan Buha.
Hey, Book, I know you guys expected Denver to keep fighting in this series, and especially once Jokic went out of the game, but just what was the key tonight to withstanding every time they kind of made a push? You guys never let it, you know, get too tight or just always seem to have an answer?
I mean, we've been there before. We prepared ourselves, you know, for those moments. I recall it, you know, before every game, you know, you hear us come together as a team and say, they're going to go on a run at some point. You know, that's when we stick together even more. That's when we bring it together even more. That's when we communicate even more. And that was the name of the game. You know, they came back, they gave us their best shot in the fourth, and, you know, we just kept playing through, you know, kept fighting, relied on our defense. We understand that, you know, we can score. We can score, you know, with the best of them in very different types of ways. And, you know, we punish teams for different coverages, but, you know, what we have to rely on is our defense. And, you know, that when we lock in, that's where it's at.
Next up is Jovan Buha with The Athletic, followed by Kent Somers.
Hey, Book, you just mentioned the defense, and you guys were 6th in defensive rating in the regular season. You jumped up to 2nd in the postseason. I'm curious where you've seen the biggest growth or progress as a group defensively in the playoffs.
I mean, our goal at the beginning of the season was to be top 5 in both categories, offense and defense. But our improvement, I think, it's just our communication, one, our versatility, DeAndre protecting the paint. And they used to have some competitive wings, you know, that can switch a lot of actions, guard a lot of different types of players. Jay Crowder being the grit, you know, of that. Mikal, you know, taking on, you know, any top scorer in the league every night. You know, he's been doing that all season. So, you know, we just trust it. We trust it, and we play together, and we talk it out together, and we hold each other responsible, accountable.
Got time for 3 more. Next up is going to be Kent Somers with the Arizona Republic, and then Evan Sidery.
Speaking of defense, it did at times tonight. It didn't look as maybe locked down as it has been the last 4 or 5 games. I don't know if you felt that, and if so, what carried you guys through those times?
Just, I'd say communication, holding each other accountable. We know when we're not playing the type of defense that we need to be playing. So we communicate that amongst each other, and we tell each other it's time to lock in. And that's what we do. But, you know, we've seen a kind of a different style of offense, you know, once Jokic went out, and having JaVale, you know, picking and rolling to the rim. So the other 3 games, our whole defense was honestly, to cut the head off the snake and guard Jokic. So once he was out, I think it opened up a lot of opportunities for him.
Final two questions are going to be Evan Sidery with Forbes and Dwayne Rankin.
Look at you, playing
But
tough.
just over 2 years ago now, Monty was hired as the head coach. Did you ever expect to be in this position so quickly on the cusp of potentially an NBA Finals berth if you make it through the next round?
I didn't not expect it, to be honest. I'd never go into the season saying we can't make it there, we can't do it. We have the culture here, we have the talent in the locker room, especially with the additions that we made this offseason too. I think that's where we're supposed to be. We wanted to finish the regular season with the best record in the league. We fell a little short of that. So we just keep playing through. And we have other goals in mind, that we're trying to get to.
Final question is going to be Dwayne Rankin with the Arizona Republic.
Yeah, before the playoffs started, Jay Crowder was saying that he was glad that you were about to start playing meaningful basketball. What's it been like playing meaningful basketball that's got you to the Western Conference Finals?
It feels great. It's hard to put it in words, but this is what I've trained for. This is what I've prepared for. I don't work out in the summer, thinking that my season's going to be over after 82 games. So I put myself in a mental space where every shot counts. I try to vision, the physicality, even when I'm out there by myself. So every time I train, every time I work out, I'm thinking postseason, or I'm thinking these types of games right here.
Thank you for the time, Book. Congrats to you.
Thank you.
Let's get to the highlight as Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets enter Game 4 trying to stave off elimination from Chris Paul and the Suns. Jay Crowder early on to DeAndre Ayton inside. Then, DC, a lot of Devin Booker. He had 10 points in this first quarter.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier, Kristen, under control, using the pick and roll. Look at that patience. That's good defense, better offense, get the shooter's touch with the roll.
The jumper, plus the foul.
Floater, float on.
He'd make that free throw, putting the Suns up 25-18. Then the Joker in the second, backing down, making the turnaround hook shot. Get 18 points and 10 rebounds in the first half.
Yeah, big fella, so smooth.
I'm gonna be watching my stream. The doors on this level. I don't know. Fuck you up, you know what I'm saying? Oh, we got a whole safe right here. Why? Man, I'll push the safe. Ooh, yeah. Polita. Go ahead. Porter. Codeine crazy. All of my hand. Codeine crazy. Put all this stuff here. For not to be nothing. I prefer ladders than these things. Oh yeah, I'll get to that ladder. And I always feel like I'm gonna press the climb button and just jump over the rail. I've done it before. Not high enough to kill myself. But I haven't done it. I like moving rather quick, like look at the ladder, get down the ladder. Sometimes you can navigate yourself better, and then you can get down. You need me. You're looking at this ladder. You can get down. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no shortcuts on the stairs. Gas station, gas at that, so let's go to the Shell gas station. Down here on the road. Yeah, you know what? Shell gas station down here. Person. Go around farm over here.
Summer is the time to make every moment count. Pack more toys with bigger hauling and towing capacity. Go social outdoor style. Connect with your friends. Because conquering summer is about capturing every second of adventure. Polaris. Think outside.
I don't even know how to use gas.
I still think I could sell the car myself. This is going to take all day. And I have big plans. Brunch. Bubble bath.
At WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Good morning. Got some energy over there.
Ice cream, baby. Ice cream, baby. Backed by popular demand.
I thought you threw it away.
The original Kawhis by New Balance. Clippers got now. And to quote the great LeBron James when he took his talents to South Beach, last night, I won from you not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six. I won 7 more cases of Diet Mountain Dew, the breakfast of champions, the nectar of the gods.
You only won 6.
Take a swing.
I get one back. The Hawks won. You won 6, Skip.
The nectar.
Stop trying to miscount. You try to steal my cases.
You said Jazz in 5 for 5, and yesterday you upped it to 6 during the show. So there's 6 right there.
Right.
Then you also bet me late in the show that your man Donovan Spider Mitchell will go for 40 plus, and he was on track until he went 1 for 8 in the fourth quarter, and he cost you a 7th case of Diet Dew. On one game, I won 7 cases. Thank you very much, Mr. Sharp.
What about that? What about Atlanta?
What about Atlanta?
We bet.
Did they play?
Yeah, don't do that.
I don't think we bet on Atlanta.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
we
we'll talk about it. Oh, Shannon, I would have tried to help you with those bets. Come on.
I get it back. I'm gonna get it back Wednesday.
The reason Skip is wearing those lovely, bright, highlighter pink New Balances is because for the 2nd straight series, the Clippers have won 2 straight after going down 0-2. LA jumped all over Utah last night with a 17-point first quarter lead. The Clippers would remain in control the rest of the night thanks to Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, each dropping 31 points apiece. I know Skip has a lot to say, but Shannon, what is the biggest reason the Clippers even the series?
Well, I thought Utah let the Clippers get comfortable, Skip. The Clippers are good front runners. And they got comfortable. And if you look at the first quarter, Skip, it really doomed the Utah Jazz because they shot 14% from the 3, 28% from the field, while allowing the Clippers to go 50% from the 3-point line. And when they got that big lead, everybody seemed to relax. And this is what we've seen from the Clippers. You must make them execute throughout the entirety of the game, because if you let them get comfortable, all of a sudden, PG is up there holding the poles on the 3-pointer like Michael Jordan in Game 6 against Utah. Everybody, Kawhi's getting out. Kawhi's going to be Kawhi. Kawhi's going to make his plays. But I thought he allowed those other guys to get comfortable. Marcus Morris, Skip, you know, he got 2 games. He normally do 2 games in a 7-game series. This is one of them. You better hope he ain't blind. You better hope he have it at the right time. But that's what I thought. I thought the biggest thing, Utah turned the ball over, Skip. You can't turn the ball over 6 times, not shoot the ball well, and not play defense. So when you exacerbate a situation, you get a 17-point first quarter lead, and Clippers never really look back after that. Yeah, if you think about it, Skip, over the next 3 quarters, Utah averaged 30 points a quarter, but the damage had already been done. Down 24 at the half, even though they dig into it a little bit into the 3rd quarter and played really well, because I thought Utah played well. I thought there's some things that they can take out of this ball game, especially late in the ball game. This had all the makings of the Brooklyn Nets Bucks 2nd game. Be down by 49 at one point and end up losing by like 30-something. But Utah started making shots, and that's what they're capable of, Skip. The Clippers didn't really show me anything. All they did was serve at home. And you and I both know, in order for them to win this series, what are they going to have to do? They're going to have to go on the road, and they're going to have to win at least 1 game in Utah. That's what we do know. So for me, I thought the Clippers got comfortable. They played really well. Kim, if you really look at it, Kawhi and PG weren't that efficient. One is 9 of 19, the other was 9 of 20. But they got comfortable early. They made some shots early. And you see what they're doing. They're keeping Rudy in the high pick and roll, the high pick. And so now they're getting wide open threes, or they're driving to the basket because he's out of position. That's a big man. You're asking to change direction. Give the Clippers credit. They played extremely well last night on both ends of the court, especially early on, got the crowd into the game, and Utah was never able to overcome that. But if you think I'm deterred, if you think I'm down, if you think I feel like downtrodden, and all of a sudden I don't feel good, I know how good I feel. I want my cases back. I want my cases on Wednesday's game.
Well, let's just do it on the series.
Oh, you want a series? Sure. How much you want?
Well,
make it loud of yourself.
Well, I'll do the 5.
All right, I want it back. Yeah. Hey, guess what? I feel so comfortable. I want another 2 cases. Donovan Mitchell goes for 40 on Wednesday.
We'll think about that tomorrow. But I'll take 5 cases on Clippers winning the series.
Oh, okay. Now look at you. You feeling all good now.
I was feeling all good before the series started.
No, you weren't. You wouldn't even give me a bet.
What I saw last night was the team that is going to win the NBA championship. I saw the Clippers that I have loved all year from start to finish. I have told you again and again, this is the deepest team in the West. This is the best team in the West. And now that the East is in shambles, I don't know what to make of the East. We'll see a little bit more tonight. But now that Joel Embiid is limping again.
No.
We'll get there. But all of a sudden, it's wide open. It may be Atlanta in the finals for all I know. It may be little Maestre. And he was cold last night. He was cold.
You saw what he did.
Did I? Whew, we'll talk about that in just a moment. But I saw the Clippers, again, flash the kind of firepower that makes them at least the best in the West. I saw them come out for once and deliver a knockout blow in the 1st quarter. Hit the Jazz right in the kisser with a big old haymaker of a right hand. Dropped the Clippers on their golden tails right in the middle of Staples Center and left them to a standing 8 count. And to their credit, they did not stay down and out.
No,
they shook it off and they started to fight back. And trust me on this, there is no more dangerous team in the NBA to hit with a haymaker in the 1st quarter and then look up and say, wait a second, there are 3 quarters left? There's no more dangerous team than this team because it led the NBA in 3-point makes. And there's no more explosive dynamic duo than these two, Donovan Mitchell and obviously your little man who used to be a Laker, Jordan Clarkson. So the point was, in the 1st quarter, the Clippers hit 6 threes to 1 for Utah. And who hit those threes? What were my last words on the show yesterday? Tonight is Marcus Morris's night. He was 1 for 12 from 3 in this series going into last night, and I said, he is a gamer. He is a baller. He's a tough guy. He is the toughest guy on this team, and I'm talking about physically and mentally toughest. And what did he do? He nailed his first three, and then he nailed all three of his threes in the first quarter. Right. And Kawhi Leonard was 1 of 6 from 3 in game 3. And what did he do? He comes right out and nails his first 3 and made 2 in the first quarter. And my man Paul George, who was straight playoff P from start to finish, he made a 3 in the first quarter, and all of a sudden it's 6-1 from 3. And guess what reversed on the 1 and the 6 were turnovers, because my team came out and got up into the Jazz. Yep. My team attacked the Jazz with their defense, and the Jazz turned it over 6 times in the first quarter to only 1 for the Clippers. So 6 threes by the Clippers and only 1 turnover, and 1 3 by the Jazz and 6 turnovers. And guess what that adds up to? 30-13.
And 6 free throws and no free throws for the Jazz.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And 13 points in the first quarter for a team that finished 3rd in offense is pretty meager, and it was a tribute to the Clippers defense, not so much how cold the Jazz were. They just got punched right in the mouth.
They were cold, Skip, but they turned the ball over. They're trying to make
the turnovers. Yeah. That's what did it, and off they ran. Off the Clippers ran.
And you know how your team front running.
Front running?
Yeah.
Good Lord. I mean, those were the longest 3 quarters of my life watching the team, because second, third, and fourth quarter, you knew what was happening. Donovan Mitchell scored 17 in the second quarter, and I said, okay, here they come.
Well, Skip, he's going to have to start faster, because if you notice, Skip, this is what happened Saturday. He got up to that slow start. They found themselves behind by double digits, and then he gets going. But, Skip, the difference is if someone gets going, if you're down by 24, you're down by 28, and you go on a little mini 7-0 run, you're still down 21-22, as opposed to have the game nip and tuck, and now that little run that you go on by yourself has significant meaning.
Okay, and yet, as I stepped back last night, during the game, Donovan Mitchell and Jordan Clarkson wore me out, because it seemed like every shot they shot went in. Not so. Not so. If you look at the final box score, you say, hold on just a second. Donovan was 9 of 26. Well, that's not sensational.
No, that's not.
And Jordan Clarkson was only 3 of 12, and it felt like he was 8 of 9, but he was 3 of 12. Donovan went 6 of 15 from 3. Well, that's a lot of misses. That's 9 misses, and then 2 of 8 for Jordan Clarkson. So if you add up their point totals, from the floor, they were a combined 32%. Well, that's, you can live with that. The Clippers can survive that. And from 3, they were 35%. So you can live with that. It's not like they were doing Luka making half their 3.
Donovan needed to be 10 of 15 from 3. Jordan Clarkson needed to be 6 of 8, because they had dug themselves such a hole. Skip, if you look at Ingles get hot. It's making it seem like he couldn't miss in the third and fourth quarter from 3. But they're so far down is that they don't even do anything, because what he's doing, he's matching a 3 that the Clippers just hit on the other end. Either Paul George has hit a 3, Kawhi's hit a 3, or Marcus Morris has hit a 3. So you're coming down and all you're doing is you're trading buckets. Well, you're down 22. So trading buckets doesn't help you.
Okay, I got it. Bigger picture, obviously, my team wanted this game more than your team wanted this game.
I agree with that.
And your team led the NBA in rebounding, and last night it got out-rebounded again. It was 44-39. So the clip, that's just want to. That's just desire. That's.
I didn't get it. I died. Help me. Help me, please. Somebody help me. Oh, Lord. /311. /911. Man, boy, I'm flopping like a fish out here. Yeah, pocket on the left, do that. I'm drowning, bro. Why am I drowning? Like I'm alive. It's like trying not to press it. Oh my gosh! But this is the type of shit that make me quit, man. Fuck my life. Oh my gosh. Wow. I ain't dropped no frames, y'all, so I'm gonna end that there. Even though I was playing YouTube, I was not playing like the YouTube that I normally play.
You thought BMW was the ultimate driving machine, but it's also the ultimate family machine. The ultimate innovation and electric driving machine. Because it is, and always will be, the ultimate can't be contained to just one thing, machine.
When you earn a degree with the University of Phoenix, we support you with career coaching for life, including personal branding, resume building, and more. That's our promise to you. That's Career Services for Life. Learn more at phoenix.edu.
What was Embiid after the loss?
It happens. Bad game happens. I've been playing well, and sometimes you just can't control it. Sometimes I thought in the second half a bunch of shots went in and out. There was a couple calls that could have gone, either way. I can do better. I can always be better. But as far as you being 100%, I don't think that's going to happen. Until the year is actually over. So I said I just gotta go out and manage it and just deal with it.
I saw that whenever you wear him out, it's everything becomes tougher for him. So that's how I know. Like I knew it was a long series, and when the fatigue comes in, it's a different ballgame. It becomes tougher for him. So it's.
Gotta go out and manage it and just deal with it.
I saw that whenever you wear him out, it's everything becomes tougher for him. So that's how I know. Like I knew it was a long series, and when the fatigue comes in, it's a different ballgame.
Ooh, that's like low-key shots fired. Rashard, did last night make you question whether the Sixers can rely on Joel Embiid?
No. Look, first of all, I did pick that. I picked Atlanta to win Game 4 and Philadelphia to win the next 2 and 6. So I'm sticking with that. Obviously, when the Sixers get the big lead, you expect them to hold it on. But Joel Embiid obviously had a bad second half, a horrible second half, 0 for 12. We saw the air ball. And the missed layup at the end of the game, that's just inexcusable. And it actually reminded me of Patrick Ewing's missed finger roll against Indiana back in the playoffs. So the degree of difficulty, I think, was much harder for Ewing's shot, though, than it was even for Embiid's. But that said, Joel Embiid, and I think Capella touched on something. I'm not bothered by what happened last night. Okay, he had a bad half. I'm bothered that I'm so worried about Joel Embiid's health and his stamina.
Yep.
Like, I cringe every time he takes a step because I always feel like he's one bad move away from an injury. And I'm sure that in Philadelphia, they just cringe the same way. And I think fatigue can be a factor as well. And Capella is absolutely right that that's an issue for Embiid. He looked just like he was beat last night, like he was tired. And so that is something that I'm concerned about. I also, and I've said it all year, and I will give Embiid credit for this, he has played bigger this season than he ever has in his career. But I still